Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Live. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late today. I was trying a new microphone setup and it didn't work. So, it worked when I tried it just, by myself, not live. And of course, the minute I go live, it doesn't work. Oh well, such is life. I will try it again next week. Okay, so meanwhile, today, it's an exciting week. We have two brand new patterns to show. The first one, and they're both Tapestry Crochet. The first one is this Tapestry Crochet gift card pouch, cozy, bag, whatever you want to call it. It's a good size. You can fit like 3 or 4 gift cards in here, or money, or treats, or whatever you like. And then this one is the Tapestry Crochet glasses case. And I made it to go with my new readers, which it looks like I forgot to bring downstairs with me. I'm so sorry about that. But you've seen them on previous videos, and you can see them on the post that this goes to. Readers.com sent them to me. I did a review. And the giveaway for this one, because this is the Scrappy Stitcher Stash Bash pattern this year, the giveaway for this month's pattern, the giveaway is a pair of reading glasses from Readers. They have a selected collection that you can pick a pair from if you win. So the cool thing about this, and this is one of the things I love to do with Tapestry Crochet, is it's got one pattern on the front, and when you turn it around, it's got another pattern on the back. And that's so easy to do. I know it looks complicated, but to me, Tapestry Crochet is the easiest of all of the crochet colorwork techniques. So if you've been watching regularly, you have seen me demo Tapestry Crochet, the starting row around for this gift card pouch, and other colorwork techniques too, but all in the past, past maybe 4 or 5 Lunchtime Lives, we have been talking about colorwork. So these are the 2 pouches that came out of that. This one is for the Holiday Stash Down Cal over at CAL Central, and this one is for the Scrappy Stitcher Stash Bash Cal right on my site. And I'm going to put, just like I always do, all of the links to everything I talk about in the comments if you're watching on Facebook, and in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Let me just see if I can get to the live videos here so that I can see if anybody has any questions or comments so far. There's that one, and there's that one. Okay. So if you are watching, say hi. I always love to see everybody. And hi, Beth. I love it when you join. Okay, so that is the 2 new patterns that came out this week. Now, for next week, I don't know if you guys know, well, for next week I got 2 things. First of all, I don't know if you guys all know Moogly, but if you don't, you need to know Moogly. Her name is Tamra. She's a designer. She's fantastic. She was one of the first blogs I started following. And her blog is mooglyblog.com. That's MOOGLY blog.com. Or maybe it's moogly.com. I don't remember. Hang on. I've got it written here. No, it's mooglyblog.com. And in her newsletter. And then, oh, my YouTube Live just broke. Let me try it again. I'll probably upload the video separately later if it doesn't work. Okay, it's connecting again. Anyway, so hi again to YouTube people. I will probably re-upload the video off of Facebook because we were having technical difficulties on YouTube. Meanwhile, okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Tamra. I'm going to have a special tip in the Moogly newsletter on Halloween. So that's special for me at least. And then the other thing coming up next week is a holiday decor roundup on my site. So I will have that for you on Monday. You know, I've been doing the monthly roundups, and the next one coming up is holiday decor. So I'm excited about that one. And then, let's see, what else do I have for you? Oh yeah, on Thursday I'll have a pattern for the KAL Corner knit along. And that one I'm making something my husband asked me for, and it's a little bit bigger than what I normally make for the knit-alongs, but it still shouldn't be too bad. It's still something you should be able to finish within the week before the next knit-along comes around. So that one's coming out on Thursday. So that is all of next week. And now it's my favorite time. It's demo time. So I want to demo, well, I'm going to start a new series. We did a series on color work. And in one of the recent videos, somebody asked me to show crochet cables. Well, as I was thinking about crochet cables, 4, 5, 6, 7, sorry, I'm getting started for you. There we go. As I was thinking about crochet cables, I'm like, there's so much to share. So I want to start a series on crochet cables. And today I'm just going to show you the foundation of them, which is post stitches. So I'm going to show you how to do front post and back post stitches. So let me switch over here. I am currently working on a row of 8 double crochets. I figured out a little pattern for myself to walk you through some of the techniques. So it needs 8 stitches. So this is nothing special. This is just a row of 8 double crochets to give us a foundation. Now post stitches are typically worked around double crochets. That's what you mostly see. But you can work post stitches around any stitch. You can even work around the post of a single crochet. The key is, okay, let me zoom in. So this chain 3 here counts as a double crochet. That's my first just regular double crochet. Now my next stitch is going to be a post stitch. The key to working post stitches is to be able to see the different parts of your stitch and identify them. So this is the top of your stitch right here where you would normally put your hook, this little hole right here. That's the top of your stitch, right? This part down here is the post of your stitch. So when we talk about post stitches, we're going to be going around that part there, okay? So that's the first thing. We've identified the post. Now you will see some people do post stitches around this section, kind of under the top of the 2 stitches. Do you see that? And there's people who use that as a specific type of post stitch because it's a little bit less puffy. So if they want a particular look, they might go here instead of here. But if they do that, they should be specifying that in the pattern. Typically, if you see a post stitch, it should be here around the bottom part of the post. Okay? Now there's a front post stitch and a back post stitch. And the front post stitches rest on top on the front of the work. The back post stitches rest on the back of the work, right? Pretty simple. The way to remember which way to put your hook in, if you're working a front post stitch, it should come out, where the hook comes out in the front. If you're working a back post stitch, you put it in the other way, and the hook comes out at the back. Okay? That's how I remember. So for this cable, I'm working front post stitches right now. I did that one kind of fast. Let me show you another one. I do my yarn over like I normally would for a double crochet. All right. I insert my hook around the post, going from front to back and then back to front here, but my hook comes out at the front, right? Around the post, do my yarn over and pull up a loop around that post. Now I finish my double crochet like normal, and you can see how these stitches kind of sit on top of the work, right? They're kind of more raised. So that's 2 basically crochet cables. A crochet cable is really just a series of post stitches. That's 2 crochet cables there. Now I want 2 plain stitches in between. Now notice, and this is typical for crochet cables the way they're normally done. I'm going to show you a different technique later where this doesn't hold true, but for now, notice the tops of the stitches back here that we didn't work into, right? We're going to skip those. For now, for this technique, we're going to skip those because we've put the stitches on the posts. So the pattern won't always say that. It won't say skip the stitch behind the post because you really did work this stitch. So you're really not skipping anything. You worked the stitch, you just worked it in a different place. So be sure not to try and work back into that same stitch later, unless the pattern tells you to. we're going to go to the next stitch. So this was the first post stitch, this was the second post stitch. Now we're going to the next stitch and we're going to work just a regular double crochet. Okay, and now I'm here and I'm going to work 2 more double crochets. Now for me, and there's so many different ways to deal with this, but I want you to see that these double crochets, because they sit lower on the stitch, don't quite come up to the same height as the double crochets next to it. So one way to deal with that is to pull up a bigger loop. When you pull up your loop here, just pull it up a little extra big so that your stitch gets a little taller. Okay, that's one way to deal with it. Another way to deal with it is a lot of people, instead of working double crochets between the stitches, they will just work half double crochets or a shorter stitch, so like half double or single, so that the stitches all come up to the same height without any adjustment. Okay, look at your pattern. It's going to vary from pattern to pattern, designer to designer. For now, I'm not going to worry about it too much. It will cinch our fabric together a little bit, but I'm just going to stick with all double crochet just for now. And I'm just being good about making my post stitches. Here, I'm going to do 2 more post stitches. I'm just being good about giving them a little extra oomph with that loop. It's called the golden loop. When I pull that up, I'm just pulling it up a little bit more, and that gives me more of an even edge. Okay? And then my last stitch here in the chain 3 is going to be a regular double crochet. Excuse me. So here we have worked, oh, I'm off camera. Let me zoom out. There we go. Here we have worked 2 sets of 2 double crochet cables. Okay? It's a little hard to see just when it's just the first row, but you can see these 2 stitches and these 2 stitches are kind of puffy. Now we get to the wrong side row. Hang on, let me take a sip here because my throat's getting very dry all of a sudden. It's allergy season for me. I know a lot of people have pollen allergies and those are over with. I have mold allergies. So yeah, you know, wet rotting leaves, this is the season. So sorry if my throat's a little scratchy. Okay, so now on the wrong side row, we have 2 options basically for how we're going to work this. If we want to continue working cables on every row, then when I'm going to do 3 chains for my first stitch because that's just a double crochet. If we want to continue working the cables on every row, then when we get to the cable, notice how it's in the back now, right? Because we turned our work. So we will have to work a back post stitch around the cable to continue working on the wrong side row. Okay? So then you have to keep track when you're on the back side, when you're on the wrong side, you have to work back post stitches. And when you're on the right side, you have to work front post stitches. The way that most people do it, because it's confusing sometimes to work the pattern backwards, the way that a lot of people like to do it is on the wrong side row, they just do a row of single crochet. So I'm just doing a row of single crochet going around here. I think this is the easier way, and then later you can work on the back side once you get the hang of cables more. Okay, so there's my chain 3 for my first stitch. Now what I'm going to do is the other technique for making our cables longer so that everything gets even is instead of changing these stitches, I'm going to change the post stitches that I'm working. Instead of working a front post double, I'm going to work a front post treble. So there we go, front post treble. Okay, I inserted my hook around the post and then I just finished the treble stitch like I normally do. The difference with the front post stitch is just where you put your hook, not anything else about how you work the stitch. Okay, and then double crochets in the next 2. Remember not to work into the 2 that we worked around. Okay, and front post treble. Oh, I didn't do a yarn over there. There we go. Okay, and now you can see those cables are just a little bit puffier, and I'm continuing these same 2 cables that we've been working, right? So a couple things I want to point out. You can work post stitches you can work any kind of post stitch you want, right? You can work a front post treble, a front post double, a front post single if you want. You can work a front post triple treble if you want. any stitch can be worked as a post stitch. I'm going to show you a front post single stitch or single crochet because I want to point something out. A lot of people, when they look at a front post double crochet, they assume they're working into a row of double crochets, and that's not true. So if you tell people to work a front post single crochet, they're like, oh no, single crochets, it's so hard to find the post. Some people don't like finding the post on their single crochets, which is right here. It's not that hard. But the name of the stitch does not tell you what kind of stitch you're working into. The name of the stitch tells you what kind of stitch you're working. So a front post single can be worked around a double, right? So here, a front post single, I just pull up the loop and work a single crochet. That's a front post single. So just because it says front post single doesn't mean it's a hard stitch. Similarly, you can work a front post double into a row of single crochet. So I'm starting a double, and I'm going to go into, now I've already worked into this first stitch, so I'm going to go into this second stitch right here. Notice again, this is the top of the stitch, and this tiny little bit here is the post. So you just go under the top there. There's your post, okay? And you can work a front post double into a row of singles, all right? So remember that the name of the stitch does not tell you what you are working into. It tells you what stitch you are working. So don't get thrown off if you see a front post single crochet or something like that. I've used those before. They're actually very useful for turning your fabric because it makes it, see how it makes it like pop off of that stitch a little bit? If you just do one row of front post singles, you'll get a nice 90-degree angle in your fabric. Okay, but back to what we had before. There's a regular double. Now I'm working 2 front post doubles. Oh, sorry, I was doing trebles, wasn't I? Okay. 2 front post trebles. And another 2 doubles. And then 2 front post trebles. And then another regular double. Okay, so that's my swatch where I had it before. Now I want to show you one other thing about this that we're going to talk about later. Notice that these are, I call them inline post stitches. We skipped the stitches behind them, so they're in line with the fabric, right? They're not exactly floating up off the fabric. It's not like they're extra stitches, right? Later, at the end of this series, I'm going to show you a way to make post stitches actually float up off the top of the fabric as completely separate stitches, which is a little bit different, a little bit tricky to keep track of, but once you get it, it's so much fun. I love doing them that way. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to talk about next time, right now we've just done straight stitches. Next time I'm going to show you how to angle the stitches. Then after that, I'll show you how to make them cross to get that traditional cable look. And then I'm going to show you how to do those floating ones. So I think we're looking at a total of 4 weeks. So today plus 3 more weeks that I'll be talking about cables with you guys. So stay tuned for that. And I want to show you now some examples of what you can do with cables, okay? That you've all seen the traditional, you know, the cable goes up and then it twists and then it goes up and then it twists, like you get with traditional knitted cables, right? And you can do all different variations of that, and those are fun and great, and that's what we're going to be learning. But you can also just use post stitches, you know, cable stitches, to just travel across your work. So this is, if I can get it to work, there we go. This is, and it's my old logo, you can tell, so it's a very old pattern, but this is a pattern I made called my windy square, which was supposed to look like a gust of wind blowing. And all of these little raised stitches here, these are just post stitches. And you can make post stitches go in all different directions depending on how you work them and where you work them. So what you need to know about post stitches is what stitch you're working and where you are putting that stitch. The reason that post stitch patterns get very complicated is because you're trying to explain to someone where you put that stitch. So like here, it's like, okay, you want to put this post stitch 3 stitches back, 2 rows below. So it's like a little hard sometimes to describe where you're going with it. But this is one pattern, and it's up on my site, and I'll add the links like I normally do. I used this square in my Dreaming of Pinwheels blanket pattern. So here, these are all windy squares, so the wind is blowing the pinwheels around in the circle. So yeah, you can get this pattern online, and this is another use of cables that isn't your traditional, you know, crossed cable kind of stitch. And that is, I believe, all I have for you today. Let me just check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, that's all of it for today. So my only other thing that I want to tell you is make sure you get out there and vote. I think early voting is open in most places. If it's not, remember, we've just got a week or 2 to go. November 3rd, so whatever that, I think it's like a week and 2 days or something, but make sure you get out there and vote. I already voted online. I don't have a sticker, but I voted, well, not online. I did the mail-in ballot thing, but then my husband went and dropped them off. So ours are in. We got the confirmation. We are voting. We have voted. Make sure you all get out there and do that. That's all I have for you. Any questions on any of the techniques or patterns or any of that kind of stuff that I talked about? Again, for those of you on YouTube, oh, you're welcome, Tina. Stay tuned. Tina says thank you for the step-by-step intro to cables. Stay tuned for the next 3 weeks because we're going to go through quite a bit in the next 3 weeks. So I hope I see you back for that. And I think that's it. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, then I will say goodbye. Happy week. Have a good weekend. Happy Thursday, and I will see you next week. Bye.